Have you ever scrolled through your social media feed maybe or found yourself searching for something online and you just get this feeling like your digital world is, I don't know, just a little too comfortable.
Familiar, maybe?
Exactly. Everything you see, everything recommended, it all just seems to confirm what you already think or, what you already
Like
like.
an echo.
Yeah, it can feel really eerily familiar, almost like you're stuck in this loop, a perfectly curated, perfectly insulated loop. Okay, let's unpack this.
Hmm.
Because the internet, right? We think of it as this grand connector, a huge universe of info and different perspectives,
That's the promise, anyway.
but it might actually be subtly kind of isolating us. So today we're diving deep into this really fascinating and sometimes, let's be honest, unsettling idea: filter bubbles.
Hmm.
This idea, it really got traction with Eli Pariser's book back in 2011, The Filter Bubble.
Mm.
And, well, it feels more relevant now than ever, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Its relevance has just intensified, especially with how much of our lives are digital now.
Right. So our mission for this deep dive is basically to figure out exactly what these filter bubbles are, how do they even get built around us, and what are the consequences? What does it all mean? And maybe most importantly, what practical things can we do to maybe pop them open a bit?
Yeah, how to regain some control, maybe.
Exactly. We've looked at a bunch of articles, some research, really trying to see how this plays out.
And what's really striking, I think, is that while the basic mechanics, the underlying ideas, aren't totally new,
Hmm.
their impact is just amplifies massively in today's world. Understanding filter bubbles, it's not just interesting, it's becoming a vital literacy skill.
A literacy skill. I like that.
Yeah, for anyone trying to navigate the modern information landscape, it's about looking beyond what you see online and
Wow.
starting to ask why you're seeing it and what that means for, how you understand the world.
Okay, so we know algorithms are involved. But how exactly do they build these invisible walls, often without us even noticing?
Well, it's complex, but essentially, these platforms, think Google, Facebook, YouTube, X, the big ones, they aren't just collecting data passively. Their algorithms are these really sophisticated predictive engines.
Predictive engines. Okay.
Yeah, they're constantly analyzing your digital footprints.
Right.
Every click, every search you type in, how long you watch a video, how you engage with a post, all of it,
Wow. Okay, so everything we do online.
pretty much. But here's the key part. They use machine learning. They identify patterns not just in your behavior, but in millions of others who seem like you. And they use that to predict or infer what content is most likely to keep you scrolling, watching, clicking next.
To keep you engaged.
Exactly. It's all about maximizing engagement. It's a continuous feedback loop happening in real time, constantly refining its picture of you.
Okay, but here's where I find it gets really tricky, because it's not just the algorithms doing this to us, is it? We kind of play a role too.
Oh, absolutely. We're active participants, often without realizing the extent of it. We all know about confirmation bias, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that tendency to look for stuff that proves we're right.
Precisely. That innate human tendency to seek out information that validates what we already believe. But some studies suggest it goes further. Confirmation bias doesn't just make us seek agreeable stuff. It can actively make us resistant to facts that contradict our beliefs.
So we actively push away things that challenge us.
Sometimes, yes. So the algorithms aren't just feeding our preferences back to us. They're actually reinforcing our cognitive blind spots. They can make us less open to new or challenging information.
Okay, so if you put those two things together, the algorithm feeding us what we like, and our own tendency to want what we like.
You get this potent self-reinforcing system. It's a cycle.
Right?
The more personalized content you consume, content that lines up with your existing views, the stronger that data pattern becomes for the algorithm.
So the algorithm gets even better at predicting you.
Exactly. Which in turn further narrows the type of information you're shown. You become a more predictable user, which is great for the platform's business model.
But maybe not so great for us.
Often detrimental, yeah, to individual growth, to seeing diverse thoughts. Over time, your whole worldview can genuinely be shaped by a surprisingly limited set of perspectives. And the kicker is, often without you even realizing it's happening.
Wow. Okay, so we've sort of looked under the hood now, seen the mechanics. Let's zoom out a bit. What are the ripples? What does this do to us individually and maybe even to society as a whole? The impacts seem like they could be pretty far-reaching.
They really are. I mean, one of the most obvious consequences is just a narrowed worldview, a real limitation on diverse thought.
Makes sense if you only hear one side.
Exactly. When you're consistently only exposed to like-minded ideas, It subtly, and sometimes not so subtly, makes people less tolerant of opposing views. You can become genuinely unaware of information that doesn't fit your existing interests or beliefs.
So it leads to a kind of intellectual isolation.
That's a great way to put it. Intellectual isolation, like you're in solitary confinement mentally, even while you feel connected online.
And it's not just being isolated. It feels like it could build this sense of being absolutely certain you're right, which can be dangerous.
Yes, that unchallenged certainty is a key outcome, and that directly fuels polarization.
Ah, polarization. That's the big one everyone talks about.
It is that increasing split between political and social groups, pushing them to extremes, making common ground feel almost impossible.
You see it everywhere, don't you? Political discussions online especially.
Definitely. Filter bubbles contribute significantly by strengthening those partisan divides. Each group essentially sees only evidence that supports their own stance.
So it's like everyone's living in their own separate reality.
In a way, yes. A slightly different version of reality where their side is always right and the other side seems, well, incomprehensible. Or even malicious.
Okay, this brings up something I've wondered about. Is this just another term for an echo chamber? Or is there a difference?
That's a really important distinction to make. They're related, but different. Echo chambers are largely self-selected. That's when people choose to hang out, online or off, with others who share their beliefs. You actively seek out that group.
Okay, like joining a specific forum or group.
Exactly. Yeah, filter bubbles, though, are algorithmically imposed, often without you consciously choosing it. The algorithm curates your experience based on your data trail, whether you asked it to or not.
Ah, so one is choosing the room, the other is having the room built around you without realizing it.
That's a perfect analogy.
Right.
One is intentional community, the other is invisible architecture.
And thinking about that invisible architecture, it's not just about what we don't see, right? It's also about what can get through without any checks.
Precisely. Filter bubbles create vulnerabilities. They make it easier for misinformation, propaganda, or super-targeted ads to influence people effectively.
We've seen examples, haven't we? Political campaigns tailoring messages.
Absolutely. Messages crafted specifically for individuals inside their particular bubbles during elections, designed for maximum persuasion based on their known biases or fears.
And the scary part is, if you're stuck inside that bubble.
Critical fact checks, corrections, different viewpoints from outside sources, they might never even reach you.
They just don't penetrate the bubble wall.
Exactly. So a falsehood can circulate unchallenged within that specific group, creating a kind of agreed upon but incorrect narrative.
There's another consequence you mentioned that I find fascinating, this idea of reduced serendipity.
Ah, yes, the loss of the unexpected. It's a subtle but profound cost.
Explain that a bit more.
Well, serendipity is that wonderful experience of stumbling across something new, unexpected, maybe something that sparks a totally different line of thought or creativity.
Like finding a random book in a library or overhearing an interesting conversation.
Exactly. But algorithms are designed for efficiency and relevance based on past behavior. They optimize for predictability.
So they filter out the random, the unexpected.
Largely, yes. Think about recommendations, music, news, even restaurants. My phone suggests places very similar to where I've been. I might miss that quirky, amazing spot I'd never have searched for.
The algorithms take the adventure out of discovery sometimes.
They can, yeah.
Yeah.
And related to that, being constantly exposed only to similar perspectives, it subtly discourages questioning. It discourages engaging with alternative views.
Because you're never really challenged.
Right. And if you're never challenged, you don't need to refine your arguments, you don't flex those critical thinking muscles. They can start to atrophy over time.
Okay, let's try and make this really concrete, because people listening have probably experienced this, maybe without even putting a name to it.
Almost certainly.
Like search results. You mentioned Google earlier. Two people searching the exact same thing might get totally different results.
Yes, based on their past browsing, their location, maybe even demographics inferred from their data. The results are personalized.
Or social media feeds. That seems like the classic example.
Definitely. A conservative and a liberal scrolling Facebook or X, they might see entirely different news stories, different takes on the same event, reinforcing their views to an incredible degree.
And YouTube recommendations too, right? You watch one video?
Oh, YouTube is notorious for this. Watch one video, maybe slightly controversial, and the algorithm can quickly lead you down a rabbit hole of increasingly extreme content on that topic.
Wow. And it's not just news and politics, is it?
Not at all. E-commerce, online shopping, stores show you products similar to what you bought or viewed before. It limits your exposure to maybe new styles or innovative alternatives.
Even health information.
That's a particularly concerning area. Someone searching about, say, alternative medicine might get fed only supportive articles, potentially shielding them from important scientific critiques or evidence-based counterarguments.
Which could have real consequences for their health choices.
Absolutely. These are subtle but pervasive forces shaping our information intake daily.
Now, we should probably acknowledge this isn't totally uncontested, right? Some researchers push back a bit.
That's true, and it's important context. Some researchers do argue that the filter bubble effect, as dramatic as Pariser described it, might be overstated for the average individual.
What's their argument?
They point to studies suggesting many people do still encounter opposing viewpoints online, maybe through shared links or diverse social connections, and they also argue, quite reasonably, that offline factors, your friends, your family, where you live, your workplace, might actually influence polarization more strongly than online algorithms.
Okay, so maybe your neighbor's political rants have more impact than your Facebook feed.
It's possible, or at least a significant contributing factor. The offline world still matters immensely.
That makes sense. Our immediate environment obviously plays a huge role. But I guess my question then becomes, what about the scale?
Scale is the crucial factor here.
Right. Even if my personal bubble isn't perfectly sealed, what happens when these algorithms are influencing billions of people simultaneously? What responsibility do the platforms have?
That's the counter-argument, and it's a powerful one. Even if the effect on any single individual is debatable or sometimes overstated, the aggregated influence across billions of users is undeniable. Online algorithms operate at a massive scale.
Amplifying even subtle effects globally.
Exactly. So the potential for systemic influence on public opinion, on political discourse, on the health of democracies, that remains a huge concern, regardless of how leaky any individual bubble might feel.
Okay. So we see the problem, we see the mechanisms, the consequences, some of the nuances. It feels a bit overwhelming. If these bubbles are being built around us, shaping how we see things, maybe even tearing at society, how do we even start to push back against something so, well, invisible but powerful?
It can feel daunting for sure. But the good news is you're not entirely powerless. There are definitely practical things you can do to consciously expand your digital horizons.
Okay, good. What are we talking about?
Well, the first step, I'd say, is active diversification.
Active diversification,
Yeah.
meaning
It requires conscious effort. It's not passive consumption. You have to actively seek out sources, accounts, media outlets, perspectives that are different from your usual diet. Don't just follow people who echo your thoughts. Intentionally look for thoughtful people who challenge your thinking, even if it's uncomfortable.
and there are actually tools that can help with that, right? I've heard of some platforms.
Yes, tools like All Sides or Ground News are fantastic examples. They basically collate news coverage on the same story from across the political spectrum, left, center, right.
So you can see the different angles side by side.
Exactly. It immediately gives you a broader picture, highlighting potential biases or frames you wouldn't see in just one outlet. It's a practical way to counter the algorithmic narrowing.
Okay, that's useful. What else?
Then there's the internal work, critical thinking, and just plain awareness.
Being aware of our own biases.
Precisely. Simply acknowledging that you have confirmation bias is a huge first step. Then challenge yourself. When you see an opposing viewpoint, don't just scroll past or dismiss it. Try to genuinely understand the argument.
Understand the logic or the emotions behind it, even if you disagree.
Yes. It's about cultivating a sort of empathy for ideas, even the ones you find disagreeable. That strengthens your own critical thinking.
And what about technically? Can we tweak the settings?
In some cases, yes. It varies by platform, but some search engines or apps give you options to reduce personalization. You might be able to turn off history-based recommendations, for instance.
So maybe less convenient, but potentially more diverse results.
That's the trade-off. A little less perfectly tailored, but it opens the door for a wider, more varied range of information you might otherwise miss. Worth exploring the settings on the platforms you use most.
Okay, and one more.
One more direct approach. Consciously follow opposing voices.
So deliberately add sources you know you'll disagree with. Thoughtful ones, yes. Find publications, writers, thinkers who represent perspectives that challenge your own and intentionally engage with their work. Not necessarily to argue, but to understand. It's about actively breaking the pattern the algorithm wants to create for you by feeding it new, more diverse signals about your interests.
Right, taking back some control over the inputs.
Exactly.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway here? Filter bubbles, they offer comfort, maybe convenience, this curated reality that feels tailor-made.
Mm-hmm. A comfortable reality.
But that comfort, it seems, comes at a pretty significant cost. It reduces our awareness, limits intellectual diversity, maybe hinders real understanding between people, and can even fragment society.
Well put. It's like choosing to live in a luxurious, perfectly soundproof room.
Unaware of the complex, messy, vibrant world just outside the walls.
Precisely.
So I guess this leaves a big question for you listening right now. How much control do you really feel you have over the information that reaches you? And maybe more importantly, what effort are you willing to put in, consciously, to broaden your own horizons, to seek out those different perspectives?
We hope this deep dive gave you some food for thought. We definitely encourage you to keep exploring, keep questioning your feed, challenge your assumptions.
And actively seek out that wider world that exists beyond your bubble. It's not a one-time fix. It's really a continuous journey. And, well, it feels more crucial now than ever before.